Well, guys, I just got back from seeing a 9:30 p.m. showing of Rise of Skywalker, and I have to say, going into this movie, I was super anxious, super nervous. I did not like The Last Jedi. Let's preface this whole spoiler review with that fact that I was totally let down with episode 8. Now, as far as the rest of the movies that have come out during the Disney era, I've enjoyed Rogue One and I thought Solo was all right. So I didn't have any main complaints with those movies, but episode 8, if you want to see my full-fledged spoiler review, my first impressions of it, I did it a couple years ago. Pretty much with the majority as far as saying that it was a really weak entry that really didn't teach anything, didn't really develop the characters, had a lot of unanswered questions that were left over when it was done, and basically didn't like some of the political commentary and stuff that was included in the series. So leading up to episode 9, I was really worried, like to the point where I was like almost anxious. It felt like I was going in to watch somebody get executed. That's how I felt going in. I had very low expectations, especially since most of the Reddit leaks that I've was reading and listening to up until this point seem to be 100% true. And I gotta say, after watching this, I will say, if you've read any Reddit leaks, yeah, they are 100% real. So I'm sure if you're watching this, you've already seen the movie, so there's no way to really be spoiled. But again, if for some reason you missed this spoiler tag in the title, in the description, I'm saying it again, do not proceed any further with this video if you do not want to be spoiled. So, Rise of Skywalker, the long-awaited end of the, what Disney's labeling, Skywalker saga. It's all leading up to this point. The trailer already revealed that Palpatine is alive, and you quickly see him. At the beginning of the movie, basically Kylo Ren is finding out that Palpatine had some kind of signal broadcasted, so he goes to a hideout that the Sith Lord himself, the Sith Emperor himself, has in the middle of nowhere, like in a different like area or planet. So Kylo runs into him and gets told that if Kylo helps get rid of Rey, he will become everything that Darth Vader wasn't and lead a huge Empire fleet that has been secretly being built for 30 years apparently, will be under his command. So it's revealed that there's a huge Imperial Star fleet that was hidden, and Kylo Ren has a chance to do it. So the main plot of the movie is Kylo is trying to get to Rey. Rey is trying to figure out how to find Palpatine. So Palpatine is hidden. Rey has to find a Sith dagger that she finds information about through Luke Skywalker, and like that dynamic between her and Kylo Ren. So it's actually kind of, I would say, Frankenstein a little bit. The first part of the movie, I would say probably like the first half hour of this movie feels a little Frankenstein, because you could tell they're using a lot of footage that was left over with Princess Leia to kind of explain her situation with her getting out of the movie and stuff. And at first I was like, oh man, this is going to be a little rough, but then it started to feel kind of natural. It really jumped right into the action. I didn't mind what they did in regards to having Kylo on his journey already, and having Rey training, and having Finn and Poe in the midst of some action elsewhere as well. So all the characters had subplots, but it wasn't unnecessary like Last Jedi was, with like the casino scene and all that. They actually redeemed the main characters of Finn, Poe, and Rey quite a bit. I think they really saved Finn as a character. They had a better backstory for him involving a character that was introduced later towards the end of the movie. So I felt character development was better. Poe was showcased immensely as far as his ship handling skills and flying skills and all of that. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, the main plot is the Sith dagger has coordinates for Palpatine's location that Luke Skywalker was writing about it. He needed to find these viewfinders, or like these Sith viewfinders or devices that gave the coordinates to the secret Sith lair. It's kind of like when the Jedi were looking for Luke Skywalker in Episode 7, but they're looking for Palpatine instead. In the middle of the movie, actually right before the middle of the movie, it's quickly revealed that Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter. this was spoiled for me because the stuff that I listened to was accurate. And I kind of wish in hindsight that I didn't spoil it for myself, but it just felt like those Reddit leaks were so outrageous that they couldn't be true. And when I slowly started to realize that they were while I was watching it, I got anxious, but I feel J.J. Abrams pulled this magical rabbit out of his ass and made chicken salad out of chicken shit with this movie, because I felt overall the plot structure and everything, the characters, the locations, the fight scenes was actually pretty awesome. I feel there was a couple swerves in there that really excited me. For example, General Hux being the spy for the resistance. That came out of nowhere, and I was like, holy cow. So it explains a lot in regards to how he acted in episode 8 and 7. Kind of like a silly general that kind of like went against Kylo Ren quite a bit. Also, they showed a surprise appearance of Luke Skywalker talking to Rey, and they redeemed the stupid lightsaber thing where he threw it over his shoulder. It was almost like J.J. Abrams kind of was poking fun at Rian Johnson a little bit at times in this movie, because Rey went to throw the lightsaber off the cliff of the same place that Luke was hermited, I guess. And Luke caught it and said a weapon of a Jedi needs to be treated with a little bit more respect. I caught that and I was like, oh my gosh, that totally redeemed the way Luke Skywalker acted in episode 8. In fact, Luke Skywalker, while he wasn't in this movie much, was so much more of himself this time around, and I feel that they did justice with Luke Skywalker catching that lightsaber. Like, that negated everything that he was in episode 8 for me. Sure, might be a little bit forgiving or whatever, but yeah. And then they showed Han Solo. Like the climax of the film, Rey and Kylo finally made it to the Death Star, and that Han Solo moment, I literally got up in my seat and I was like, holy shit, like in the middle of the theater, and it caught me off guard. I was not expecting that, but I liked it. They really didn't explain how that happened. Like, I have no idea how Han was able to project himself unless Leia did that. That was part of like Leia's force or whatever, that she, when she became one with the force and she kind of passed away in the movie. I didn't like their send off for her. I felt she should have had a little bit better of a death, a little bit more climactic. But it was a nice touch to have Han Solo in there as a surprise and turn Kylo over to the side of good. I thought the final battle with the ships and everything was pretty cool. They scared me with the Chewbacca death scene, even though he didn't die. That kind of scared me a little bit. But the ending of the movie with Kylo Ren and Rey teaming up against the Emperor, I feel the battle should have been a little bit more intense. There wasn't enough lightsabering around for me, in my opinion. But it was really cool when she kind of got knocked down and she heard all the Jedi talk, like all of them, even the ones that never showed up in the movies but were like in the Clone Wars series and all that. You heard all of them, and they all got credits. But the main complaint I have with this movie is I wish that scene would have been a little bit more in depth. I wish they would have shown the actual Jedis, like Anakin, Yoda, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon. I wish they would have shown them as Force Ghosts or some kind of vision that she had talking to her, and when she had the blades, I wish they would have been behind her, aiding her to defeat the Emperor. And then, of course, she defeats him, and she dies, but Kylo passes over his life force to her. So it was like Leia passed her life force to Kylo, who passed her life force to Rey. I felt Kylo personally should have been the one that survived. I think it would have been a better touch if Rey would have died and sacrificed herself as, the relative of Palpatine to save the Skywalkers. And I felt the ending of the movie could have been a little bit more climactic in that regards, because, at the end you see Rey go to the farmhouse, plant the lightsabers away, and somebody asks who she is, and she says she's Rey Skywalker. I feel it would have been better if it was Ben that survived, and when they asked, who are you? He would have been, I'm Ben Skywalker. I feel that would have been a much more powerful ending to this series. But overall, this movie was 10 times better than I expected. I would probably give it a solid 8 out of 10. I feel they definitely knocked it out of the park with this one. There's so much to talk about in regards to this movie. Like, I think the actors, for the most part, the characters that were introduced, like Lando was back, that bounty hunter, that new Poe was back. I feel like a lot of stuff from the first half of this movie should have been in episode 8. I feel half of episode 8 and half of episode 9 should have been switched in regards to, like, Finn and Poe and how some of their backstory fits and how the Emperor was revealed. I feel that should have been in episode 8, if that makes any sense. There was a lot of stuff that 8 could have had that was in 9, and it almost feels like JJ was kind of like, hey, episode 8 doesn't count. Don't worry about it. It doesn't exist. Because you could honestly just watch episode 7 and watch episode 9 and be okay with what happened in this trilogy. I almost feels like episode 8 doesn't have any bearing or any kind of effect on that, which I'm okay with that, because I think 8 was the worst one. But I was pleasantly surprised with episode 9. It felt like a Star Wars movie to me. The scenes, the visuals, the characters. There was a lot of practical effects also too. There was like little puppet characters and stuff that really made this movie feel like it was true to what they intended. And it's a shame that episode 8 did so much damage to the series, because I feel that the Obi-Wan movie and the Boba Fett movie and all the side projects they wanted to do got moved over to Disney Plus because of how bad it did. I think Rogue One and Solo were affected because of it. I don't really agree with Kathleen Kennedy's look and vision towards this series, but I feel that they did do this sequel trilogy justice overall with episode 9. This is probably my 5th or 6th favorite Star Wars movie out of all of them. I don't know. I was happy. I didn't walk out of the movie theater disappointed or upset, other than the fact that I feel Kylo should have lived and been the character at the end to say, I'm Ben Skywalker, and that the Jedi should have appeared to Rey when she was in that final battle. But it was better than I thought it could have been, and overall I'm happy with it. I would see it again. I only watched Last Jedi once. So, yeah. There was not much in way of huge swerves or anything, if you read the leaks, because it was all pretty much factual, but they pulled it off. The leaks weren't as bad, in my opinion, on camera. I think overall the movie was really well done. And that's it, guys. I just wanted to share my thoughts. I had a great time watching it. Let's see what happens next in the series, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. Peace out. Consider supporting 8-Bit Eric on Patreon for just $1 a month. Link below in the description. You want to become part of the hashtag 8BE Nation, guys? Well, be sure to pick up your official merch, now available online. Link is below in the description. We got classic t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and even women's apparel. Don't forget, pick up your official merch now. And while you're at it, guys, feel free to watch the next video, or why don't you catch up on one that you might have previously missed. Thanks again, guys, for all the support. I couldn't do this without you. You guys are amazing, and don't forget to subscribe and click that like button if you are brand new. Thanks again, guys. Peace out.